guys, minions, and welcome to Unmade Gaming. We're here to talk over whatever McLogan just said. Welcome back to Blaze of Glory Holes, the season finale.
To be fair, he did not do the countdown.
You're right.
There was no countdown.
He never does a countdown. I never do a countdown.
He goes, and we're going to go 5.
No, I don't. I've never done that ever, Joe. Anyway, we are back for the season finale of Blaze of Glory. We're here to ruin Johnny's day, mostly, and have a few laughs while we do it, as he suffers and then cries himself to sleep in sunny California.
There's nothing sunny about California. What are you talking about?
Well, it doesn't rain.
It's been pretty rainy. There was a tornado warning and
Wow,
snow.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
And weird.
It's weird because
Global warming is definitely a myth.
it hasn't been sunny, but it's been so warm in Michigan. It's like 45 degrees.
I heard Michigan's like either super cold right now or warm.
Same, yeah, it's been in the 40s over here. It's been great.
It's wild.
I'm wearing
for
shorts and
this
shit.
time of year. That's like so warm for this time of year.
Yep. That
Should
being
be
said,
snowing.
warmth and tornadoes aside, we're here to cause a ruckus and bring the noise. If I don't know how to stream anymore, it's been like weeks. If you guys want to support the channel, please go check us out on Patreon. If you want to join the conversation and talk about this shit show, you can do so in our Discord. And most importantly, the most important plug of the night, in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see that box. When that box fills, Johnny gets to do whatever the hell he wants to us, but more importantly, all the money that goes into that box goes back to these wonderful, lovely, amazing players here. And that's it. That's all I got. With that, Johnny, take us into space.
No, it's the last time, and it's the last time I'm going to get to say this.
But you can say, one more time, I want to celebrate space time.
Now that would be a fun show to run. That would be a weird show to run, but it would be a fun
Space
show
band.
to
I'm down.
Oh,
Exactly.
I'm wearing a NASA shirt. I didn't even plan this.
No one believes
Space
that.
punk rock.
I like the space. I like that shirt.
Thank you. It was a Christmas present.
run. All right. Previously on Blaze of Glory Holes, the mysterious dark jump gate in the Holt system has awakened like a sleeping giant. The news of its awakening has been broadcast across the Procyon sector, attracting the attention of every legitimate and illegitimate organization in the sector. Reports are coming in that ships are leaving space docks in great numbers, plotting a course to the gate. Various news organizations and scientific institutions are weighing in about the reasons behind the awakening of the gate and what might actually come through. The hegemony has been strangely silent. The gate's awakening was a result of the crew's efforts on a Keddy, though they don't quite understand it yet. Levi was hacking some tech in a temple that belonged to the religious order Fitzy was a member of, with Switch keeping an eye on the door. When it became clear that they couldn't maintain their position in the underground control room under the remains of Fitzy's temple, Levi and Fitzy figured out a way to use an teleportation system to send them to another temple. Inside the new temple, they found the means to get Friday out of his head. While the process was beginning, alien bug things native to the jungles of Akedi had made a nest inside of the abandoned temple. Sensing an invasion of their home, Mamba Bug and the baddies attacked and made things difficult for the crew. With some deft gunslinging skills from Switch and some feats of mystical mumbo jumbo by Fitzy, the crew was able to finally take care of the bug problem. It's in this moment of peace that Friday finally comes free of Fitzy's consciousness and gives him a message that he's not done. Fitzy must make his way to the gate and go through it. As we fade into this finale, the crew, standing in the temple, with the news echoing from the voice of Friday. The news of the gate's awakening has just come across Levi's display. Friday stands in front of them, a somber look in his eyes, as he says, "Your journey's not done. You all still have possession of the cube. You must take it through the gate."
Oh, that's excellent news. I was very worried that we were not going to be the first ones there, and therefore we couldn't, make all the money from the gate being ours.
Huh?
Money is
What? Eh?
Friday speaks up and he says, "Money is inconsequential.
Is it though?
You must get it through the gate."
Is it though?
What are we gating? What? Huh?
Oh yeah. Hey, look. Where did you come from?
Definitely. It's fine. What's happening?
Yeah, we all decided.
You've been trying your own drugs again.
No.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I'm sure she has, but it's fine. There's a new gate. It's going to be activated. It's far away from here, but Fitzy here promised that I get the gate and I get whatever's in the new system. We already worked that one out. We're going to be kind of like
taking a whole system.
It's all we are. It's going to be like our place.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Well, think about how many resources you have for your drugs. Think about that.
Okay, I'm in.
A whole system worth of stuff to turn into drugs. Now, that doesn't come along every day, does it, Fitzy?
I like how easily sold she was. He was like, all this new stuff. Okay.
Okay. I'm not running things, so I'm just drugs.
Oh, that's fine. I can be in charge. You know what? If no one else wants to, I could be in charge, I think. Just,
Sally slowly looks at the other two guys.
I mean, I don't care.
I mean, yeah, you already agreed, Fitzy. That was,
Yeah.
we already talked about this.
No takesy backsies.
Anyhow, so yeah, I mean, inconsequential or not, I get it. And
So, I have a small question. How do we get there? Our ship is on the other side of the planet, somewhere.
oh, I hadn't thought of that.
I did.
Oh,
Hello. So, Johnny.
are you done being in your bubble?
I downloaded the schematics for the force field.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is I want to take this mini force field and see if I can rig it with hegemony tech to install into the glory hole to make it have a force shield.
Okay. So wait, you've got something rigged up to be able to do this, or you're going to rig something to be able to do this. But how are you going to get back onto the ship to be able to rig it?
That's the second part where I look at Friday.
Sure.
Is it Friday? Friday. Can you? Are they all dead over at the other place?
Oh, right.
I don't. And he kind of pauses and disappears for a second as the display comes up. As you can see that the various drones are kind of floating around and attacking the last two Xenos who were attempting to actually get into the actual glory itself, and now have are kind of trying to fend themselves off. You see peppered across the way, around the area, a couple of drones that are on the ground, but the most of them are still surviving, and they're just pelting these guys with blaster bolts and attacking them, and it's obvious that it's not going to last for very long. And that flashes, and he comes back up and he says, "Is that what you're talking about?"
Oh yes. So, is there a way that with the remaining drones all focus on those two individuals, and then after they're dead, the purge is over, and we can go back to the ship and teleporting magic?
Sure. And you see Friday do something that he has never done before, Fitzy. He actually pulls up a display, and he starts reading through something real quick, and it looks like a scroll, but upon closer examination, if you both take a look at it, he's actually looking at code, and you can tell that it's actually written in the language, and he's kind of looking at it. He goes, according to this, the purge protocol will not affect any of you. I'm not sure if that was intentional, but you can go back there anytime you want. Those drones won't attack you.
Oh, okay, no, that's fine then. All
Wait,
right.
wait! What do you got there?
What do you mean?
You just pulled out a whole screen out of nowhere.
I'm out of your head now. I'm actually in a mainframe of sorts.
I'm aware of what we put you in, but I can't just pull a screen out of nowhere. And Levi, who makes dumb shit out of nowhere, can't pull a screen out of nowhere either.
Well, neither are you a robot man.
Right.
He does have a point.
So
you got me.
You see Fitzy, you see Friday walk over kindly, and he looks to pat you on the head, and as he does, his
no.
hand kind of passes through your head.
Oh no.
And he looks at you and he says, I'm just a projection. I'm not really here. I can do, and he waves his hands, and the temple, the imagery around the temple, just kind of transforms for just a second, and the bugs, carcasses disappear, and you see a representation of the temple as it would have looked back then.
This is much nicer. Can we keep it like this?
He's like one of those pornograms. Like the holograms that are made out of porn.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Don't look at those, but I know what you're talking about.
I don't.
It's okay. You're a virgin. It's all right.
I don't even want to argue with you on this point anymore. I don't think I want to know what you're talking about.
You don't.
All right, so we're good to go back to the ship then? Or?
Well, hold on. You got to give me a minute here. And then I'm going to proceed to walk up to Sally after I bring the shields down. I don't remember if they're still up. And I go, hit me with my space asthma.
What?
Inhaler. I need the inhaler.
He wants the Aketi drugs.
Oh.
Or the
Friday kind of reaches his hand up and goes, wait, I'm not bringing the shields down. You still have problems. And he pulls, he disappears, and the display comes back up of the scene, and he pushes out, and there's the shield that's still up, and the ships are all kind of around it. All of those ships that were kind of there ready to attack. You remember those ships, don't you?
That looks like a problem.
And look, that's why I was going to rig up a personal little shield through the ship and speed away. And so if any of their ammunition hit us, they'll take out the shield will deflect it and all that kind of stuff, and we could speed away to wherever the fuck we're going.
Should I give him drugs? She looks at the other two.
I mean, at this point, it can't really hurt. Either we're going to get obliterated by the spaceships or we're not.
Fair enough. She reaches into her pocket, tosses him one. She hesitates. She looks back at him. She says, wait a second. She takes it back, gives him the one around her neck.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, is this more potent? What is it, an inhaler?
It'd be like a little, just like a little capsule that opens so you could sniff.
Oh, okay. Oh, right.
So what happens, Sally?
God, what happened the last time he did the Jedi drugs?
The last time he did the Jedi drugs, if I remember correctly, involved him seeing everything in sort of slow motion and seeing all the displays and stuff, and having the ability to tap into the way in the same way that Fitzy could.
I would imagine it's similar to that, but he could also maybe dully sense energies he couldn't before. It wouldn't be super strong, but it would be very, very dull.
What kind of energies?
Anything weird coming from the temple, probably from our space virgin, stuff like that.
Fucking A!
All right. Levi, do you take this?
Yeah.
I'm going to need a resistance roll from you, buddy. Because when it hits you, this is like no other drug you've ever had before, and it's going to hit you hard, and it's going to knock you out unless you give me a good resistance roll.
Resolve?
Sure, that works.
Or can I do insight?
Okay, hold on a second. Let me take a look at your sheet real quick, because you're going to want to survive this, but at the same time, you're welcome to use resolve or insight if you'd like. This will be probably more about mental discipline than this will be about connection to the way.
Okay, so insight. No bonus dice.
Unless you want to push yourself and take those.
No, 3, 4, 6.
All right. So you resist the effects of getting completely knocked out, and you don't take any stress for this. But what does happen is everything at first feels like you just had your head slammed into concrete. And that you hit and there's this burst of light and there's this burst of pain, but you're just like, you feel the sort of the way that the previous drug kind of like worked its way into your brain, except this is like even more intense. But as the pain begins to clear, you feel things that you've never felt before. Like you feel the life force of the 3 crew members that are standing next to you for the first time. You feel like their heartbeat, but it's like a slight sort of gentle sort of like vibration coming off of them versus it being like something incredibly strong. And you feel like the general sort of like ambient noise of the jungle around the temple grow stronger, but it's not just stronger because the noise has gotten louder. It's because you can now feel this dull sort of like vibration that's just kind of like emanating from it. And as you're kind of looking around, you see through the illusion that is that Friday has put up, and you see the temple itself, but you also see all of the technology that is embedded in this temple, and everything, like every brick is embedded with something that kind of focuses into this. And you are seeing like all kinds of like writing and data just sort of passing all over this place. And as you look towards Friday, you don't see him as Friday, you see him as code, but you see him as the most brilliant code ever written.
I am the one.
So that's hitting different from him. This will be interesting. Sally starts to look around.
You just see Levi go, oh, what the fuck?
3 guys in black suits show up with wearing sunglasses.
Wait, which one did you give him?
I gave him mine.
You gave him yours.
Yeah.
That's like the strongest one.
Almost the strongest one. I can't quite do that one yet.
Switch, he's fucked. We have to figure out a way out.
I'm fine. Look at me. And I just start walking over to the maybe gliding slightly as I go over to the fucking 4 pillar things, and I start looking for the technology, and I'm like, I get to sleep this off. Yes, it'll be great. All right, here we go. And then I start looking for the technology and how activating the shield and what part turns on the shield and what energy runs to it, and figuring out how the mechanics work compared to the schematics I have.
Okay.
And then kind of comparing that to hegemony technology and how I can incorporate it into the ship quickly. Because normally if you were to do this, it'd probably take a lot of time, but we're kind of pressed for time. Mm-hmm. So he's going to do this, look at and see what he can figure out, and then start trying to rig up 4 components from each statue as quickly as he can.
What components from each statue?
The shield generating components and getting the energy source as well.
Okay. I think I'm going to need a rig from you to be able to do this.
I will say this is desperate because he's trying to do it quickly.
Absolutely.
Sally assist. I only have 1 point in rig, but it's better than nothing.
you can assist. You're just going to take 2 stress.
Sure.
Okay. And so that's 1 bonus dice. I will take a devil's bargain on this because I'm super high.
You're Jedi high right now.
I'm going to ask you, do you have a devil's bargain in mind before I actually suggest one? Because this is the end. This is where it all comes to.
This is the end game now.
Yeah.
I would say at the end of the session, my devil's bargain would be that he's able to write out the schematics for force shields, but at the end of the session, at the end of the episode, when the drugs wear off, he fades away into nanites.
Really?
You were nanites all along.
I knew
And
it.
there's going to be a universe with hacking nanites in them.
He was a robot
Loke.
the entire time.
Loke, I can't even tell you how perfect that fits into the end. Yes, we're doing that. Fuck yeah.
Okay. 2 dice.
I broke him. I'm sorry. Kind of.
Good.
4, 4, 6, 5.
All right. So immediately as you're kind of like doing this, you're just sort of like, working through, you're touching every system that is linked to those like golem like creatures that have like energy. And you're just like, you're putting things together left and right. And finally it just sort of like lays out in front of you, like visually, like you can see you're doing exactly what Fitzy was doing, or sorry, what Friday was doing, which is where you're actually able to manipulate the displays in such a way that you're working with components in the air and you're just kind of putting things back and forth. It's almost like Tony Stark assembling a new fucking Iron Man, suits, right? When he's using like the 3D stuff. But as you're doing all that, and as it comes together, you see there's a pending sort of alert and message, on the system, like in the Earth system. And when you touch it, it kind of comes up, and it kind of, it brings up the cube, and it starts to spin, and it says at the top in gate open. The delivery must be made.
Oh, we got to go. I can read her now. This is fucking crazy.
What? We gotta go now?
Yes, I'm done.
Go.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just following
Okay.
at this point. I don't even fucking...
Look, you're the one who insisted that we turn on the gate and that we make the gate go, and this is all for you. We're doing everything for you right now.
No, I was just here to get Friday out of my head. I'm done.
But, you were the
I mean, he
gate
could stay
guy.
here, and then
No,
we
I'm
get the galaxy.
I'm coming with this. I wanted to find the gate. I thought that's where I had to go. But,
All right.
now I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
Let's go. Let's get in the circle of fun, and we can go do the things.
Alrighty.
All right, well...
Circle of fun. I don't like the sound of that, but I don't feel like we have another choice.
It worked fine last time.
Yeah, that's how we got here. I mean, you must have come through it at some point. You probably wandered
I
into
was
it.
asleep on the floor, I think.
Or very high.
I think you were very high.
Both.
Yeah, totally. All right. So as the four of you step onto the circular concentric circles pad that's beginning to light up, Fitzy, you're having the exact same experience, right? All of the area around you starts to kind of like get a little fuzzy as you see 3 paths in front of you. One leading to another jungle temple, one leading to outside in the jungle, and another one leading to a darkened room. Which, from the vibe that you're getting, you feel like that's the room that you just came from to get here. What's interesting is that as you're kind of taking this all in and you kind of look over, you see Levi actually looking at the same things that you're looking at. He's able to actually perceive the way the travel system works.
Okay, so which one?
That one.
All right, well, if you focus really hard on that one.
All right. And as you kind of phase back into existence on the other side, you find yourself in the darkened room, again, that you guys transported from. You see the display in the center displaying the situation outside as Friday kind of pops up. He says, they're working very hard to make sure that they cut the power source to this area. The Veneron are working tirelessly to acquire and engage all of this technology for their own means. So they know how to do this. I can hold them off for about 5 minutes, but you have to go.
We're going right now. You're slowing us down.
What if we blew
okay.
up the planet? Can you do that?
But then can people come through the gate? Isn't that...
Well, we gotta go to the gate.
Yeah, the gate's in outer space. It's a space gate.
But then can we reopen it from the other side somewhere? I've just opened up
I don't really know
humans
how gates work.
stuff.
I don't really much care what happens to this planet once we leave it. So that works for me.
Okay. Sally just
having
packs
lived
up
here
some
for, like,
her
half
medical
my life,
supplies.
I'm pretty
grabs her
indifferent.
syringe gun.
I found magnets. How do they work?
You don't know how magnets work, and you just Sally face palms very, very hard.
Yeah, all right, we get on the travel thingy. We do the travel thingy.
For everyone in Chatland, that's McLogan in real life and not his character. That is 100%
was it?
what it's like hanging out with him in real life.
It's that and Baby Yoda love.
It's like a toddler with ADD.
Baby Yoda's very good.
Ready to be Baby Yoda. It's fine.
Are we doing Baby Yoda? Let's do it.
All right, so
Ready to go through the gate.
well, so you guys have already gone through the gate. You're now in the room. You need to go up the stairs back to the Glory, which is it's dealing with it's being pelted with blaster fire from these ships, but shielded. So is that where you're headed?
Yes.
All right. So as you guys kind of crest out of the room, the display goes dark from behind you, and you can see the light of the stairway, leading out to the stone steps leading out to the surface.
And
And
I
it's kind
sense
of
any life out there?
oh yeah, but it's all bundled together in these vast sort of like areas that are about 150 to 200 feet above the surface. The entire surface area, besides the four of you, feels completely alien and dead. Like it is completely devoid of life.
Oh, that's fine. That's what I was worried about. All right. I start making my way to the ship.
All
Sally's
right.
just following him,
Yep,
heel and toe
yep.
at this point.
Blaster fire is continuing. As you can see, another landing party is about to come down. There's a small sort of like skiff or whatever that's landing and bringing more people your direction. As you can see that there's the opening still that the previous Veneron had open inside of the shield wall, and you can see like there's this like device that's sort of like holding it at its crest.
I'll start running and shooting if any of them are getting close to us, but I'm still booking it for the ship.
Sally's only looking for close shots, but mostly just running.
Okay, so as the four of you are able to get back to the ship, I'm going to need to know exactly what each of you are doing. So we're going to start with Levi. Levi, you've got a plan for shields. How do you implement this plan?
So I'm going to. I got to leave my Baby Yoda hood up. I'm going to go into the four corners of the ship and create a kind of a parameter that these shields run, and then take the energy source and put it in. And so what it's going to do is that it's going to create the shield and like push out like around the ship and kind of like disperse the energy like the four statues. And so he has everything like and he's like quickly like bolting stuff in, and he's like knowing how to like tie the hegemony to the and making that production and kind of rigging up transmitters of the signal as well on the outsides that connect to the inside.
All right. I'm going to come back to you as you're kind of doing this and ask for a rig roll.
Okay.
All right, Fitzy, what are you doing?
Man, I don't know. At this point,
man.
I do a lot of punching, and there's nothing to punch here. And I don't know what else to offer this team. What does it look like outside the ship? So we got crazy giant shield, right? And then we have a bunch of guys trying to saw a hole in the giant shield, and then Levi's trying to make his own shield.
Levi's trying to make his own shield for the Glory.
Yeah.
There are 4 Veneron ships right now that are continuing to pelt the shield as the blaster, the blaster fire is like coming in.
Yeah.
Then there is the hole that's already been made in the shield, as there are more Veneron, making their way, basically foot soldiers making their way towards the ship now at this point.
Sure.
Before Sally starts helping him set up the shield, she's gonna hand Fitzy her gun, her syringe gun, and be like, "Your turn."
What am I gonna do with that? Doesn't make any sense.
I'd pick mine up, but my cat's curled up with it.
How far away are the guys punching a hole?
They're about 300 feet from the glory, so it'll take them a bit to get there. Like, it'll take them like 30 seconds to get there once they get through.
Sure. But
they don't have to worry about the hole because nobody has actually disabled whatever it is that's keeping this like pathway through open.
Right, but they do have a hole cut, right?
Yes.
Okay. I guess Fitzy looks to Levi and says, "How much time do you need?"
A little bit.
Well, we only have a little bit. And he runs down the ramp and outside of the ship, and he's charging at the vineyard.
Don't do that.
What if they get here before we take off? Then they're going to shoot us. And we have 3 guns. One of them just makes people poo.
I was just about to take off.
You can't take off until he drops the shields. Remember the last time? It vaporized when the last time they tried to come in.
Well, I was going to do some maneuvers.
It's a dome.
I meant, like, fly around so they don't kill us.
Inside the tiny dome we're in?
Better than on the ground.
You see Levi, like, on the outside of the ship, and he's like, I don't think you're taking off right now.
I think that's how it works. And he's continuing to run.
You could be ready, but, like, that's...
Just get in the cockpit.
I'm going to start doing cockpit stuff. Hitting switches and doing dials.
All right, so Switch is going to do the Switchy thing. Levi's going to do the Levi thing. Fitzy's going to do the Fitzy thing. What's the Sally thing to do here?
She's just following him around, helping him set up the shields. That's the best use of her time right now.
Okay.
Making sure
That's pretty good.
Not having weird side effects.
Yeah.
All right.
You did wear the diaper, right?
What's a diaper?
Oh, shit.
Oh, that's something I never thought I'd hear in a game. Wow.
Sam, put a towel on his seat.
I would say at this point you look at Levi and like he's starting to look like the cyber Levi. That was like his eyes are starting to have that like light blue glow, and there's like sharp lines that are kind of like technology coming around him. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
As you're making your way to the to be defensive and protect the ship while it's preparing to leave, Fitzy, you feel the life force of Levi begin to shift a little bit. Like it's starting to become more vibrant, almost like it's as if it's bursting with energy. Levi, you don't feel anything.
I feel fine.
All right, I'm going to need a rig roll from Levi and with an assist from Sally to make this shield system actually happen.
Should I do a separate roll, or should it just be in?
No. You give me a bonus die.
Okay.
This time, I'm not going to charge you stress because you've already kind of sort of assisted in this anyways.
I'm fine.
So I think it makes sense that it just you're continuing the effort that you paid for before.
I say this is extreme, desperate and extreme.
Yeah.
Yes, all of the above.
Okay.
I swear to God, I hope you fail.
Can I? Okay, that's one dice. Is there any other? Not the Devil's Bargain, but the other one.
Push yourself. It requires actually that requires some stress. So do you have?
How much stress is that?
Oh, you know what? It was 1 stress for Sally with the assist. It was 2 stress for Levi. So right,
it's supposed to be 2 for pushing yourself. Yeah.
Okay, 2 for pushing yourself, 1 for an assist. I screwed that up.
Okay, here we go. 5, 5, 5, 6, 3.
I told you he was gonna fuck up all your plans.
Okay. Describe to us what this looks like when the shield system comes online for the glory.
So basically what goes on is that like Levi is gets everything like in place and everything bolted down. And he makes sure that the hull integrity is still there. And then like has like the power conduits like running through, and you can see how they run. And it's kind of like not like the cables aren't dressed or anything. It's just to this like power supply that he took from the other one. And so he's like got everything hooked up, and he's like, and he puts a giant red button on it. And he's like, and also it's just like, it's like very quiet and like anticlimactic. And he's like, I think I did a thing. And he takes like one of his like tools and like throws it out the open hatch and sees what happens to it. And it like evaporates the tool. And he's like, but he sees like, but he doesn't see like the tool get evaporated. What he sees is like the shield like activate it, and it like turns everything into like a micro nanite and disperses it out beyond the shield, projecting it the way the momentum was taking it.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, I'm fucking high as shit right now. As you see like more lines starting to form like around him and like kind of glow. And yeah.
I'm gonna need to take a look at that when we finish, but right now I
did the thing. Where's Fitzy?
With the gun, waiting for us to finish. She just kind of stares at him like she's like, oh god, I did fuck up this time.
Yeah, I think Switch hits like the like ship comms, and like you hear his voice crackle. It's like, is it time to go yet? I think we're running out of time here.
Do we have to pick up Fitzy, or can he like teleport here?
Should we get Fitzy? Is it time to go?
Yeah, he hits the button to turn off the shield, and he's like, oh, I turned off the shield, go get him.
Yeah, so Switch is gonna like start taking off and like leave like the ramp down, like how you do in these kind of things, and is like gonna, I guess, like comms over to Fitzy. Is just gonna be like, all right, we gotta get the hell out of here. What are you doing?
I'm fighting everyone.
Well,
he's just yelling back to you.
Stop doing that and then come over here.
Bring the ship.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna.
He's got his swords out.
I'm gonna drive by and try to scoop him up.
Okay, first things first. We're gonna cut to Fitzy. I just need a description of what the fight looks like. I don't need a roll. Just tell me what this looks like.
Just pick any Deadpool with swords scene. And that's the theme of this fight.
Is he getting stabbed a lot?
Yeah, he's getting stabbed a lot. No, he just ran into a crowd of like, I don't know how many Vigneron there were, and he's just causing a distraction. So he's probably taken a couple hits, but he just has the 2 charged swords that Switch gave him, and is using those to like try to cleave these Cybermen into as many pieces as possible. Because he's got some hatred built up. He's got some aggression towards this entire race of people. And also he has to cause a distraction, which he's really good at. So that's it. He's just swinging and chopping and jumping, like
all right.
a drunk Asakatano.
All right, you hear the glory sort of power up as it's kind of like coming around and just like maneuvering with the ramp open, kind of angling towards you. Now, knowing Switch always screws up the smooth moves and has to recover from it. So I need a roll from Switch, because this is the perfect time for Switch to kind of show that, you know what, when it's time to fucking, man up and, make things happen, that he can actually do it.
Well, I did upgrade my piloting at some point during this game, so that's a good thing. Oh man, good. I have like no stress to give. All right, well maybe I'll just trauma out with this roll, because we're almost done with a score. I don't know about that. All right, is it risky or desperate?
I think it's desperate.
Okay. And standard effect? Trying to escape the planet?
Sure. I mean, you're trying to pick up. You're trying to pick up Switch. You're trying to Fitzy up and then like get the hell out of here, kind of a thing.
Yeah. Get a clean getaway.
Right.
Alrighty, so I can't push myself for effect because I will trauma out unless like, are we gonna go into downtime after we escape this planet?
We could go into downtime if you'd like to, or we can just kind of, because you're going to have a bit of a trip to get, because the whole system is actually I'm sorry. The whole system is actually
really far.
3 systems away. So you're going to have a bit of like travel time. So, I mean, it could be downtime or it could just be, let's like hand wavy kind of do that stuff.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of just like the more like, do we have time for it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just spend the 2. I'll just spend the 2 stress, and then I'll trauma out after this roll.
Okay.
Oh wait, but then I can't fly away.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Fine. Do you have a devil's bargain?
Yeah. All right. So, like Fitzy, or sorry, like Levi, at the end of this, he's just going to burst into nanites and become dust in the wind kind of a situation. For Switch, the ending will be bittersweet, and he'll never forgive Levi for it.
Cool. Sure. 5 is pretty good.
You needed that.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
So narrate us through this, man. Tell us what happened.
Yeah. So the glory like zooms down and like I think like unless Fitzy jumps, the ramp is gonna like take him and whoever and like a couple people he's fighting by like the ankles as I like swoop in and scoop them up. So at the last minute, I'm gonna shout into the comms for Fitzy to jump as we like scoop them and fly off. And I like raise the ramp as soon as I grab him.
All right, Fitzy. So it's coming around. Ship's coming around. He's got an angle perfectly to get you, but he's going to try to scoop you up. You have a second to either anticipate this and jump on, or continue to defend and resist getting knocked by a ship. Which do you want to do?
Yes. Yeah, I think you know what? If we're already made a Matrix reference, why not keep that ball rolling? I have an ability called kinetics, which I can propel myself at superhuman speed, or throw things very far. So when he tells me to jump, I superhero pose and then leap, right? Like the final scene of Matrix 1 where he flies, and I just leap and arc into the back of the ship.
Good.
All right.
I do have to push myself to do that, which means I have 1 stress pip left.
Yep. So you do that, and you kind of launch up. But so here's the thing about that. So Switch's roll was a success, but there was a complication.
Uh-huh.
So as you're like beginning to kind of jump up, one of the Veneron actually realizes what you're doing and grabs onto you. And as you're launching up, he comes traveling with you. And so when you land in sort of the docking area, he comes in and he begins to throw a punch at you.
Okay.
You've got a second to either resist this or counterattack in some way, shape, or form.
Can I counterattack? Because I'll attack. I mean, I'll resist or attack, whatever works.
Well, so the resistance roll is definitely going to trauma you out unless you want to do a counterattack. But if you fail, there will be a significant consequence.
I mean...
It's up to you, buddy.
I mean...
It's the ultimate episode.
I'm gonna cut this guy, this half robot bitch in half.
Okay.
Not him.
So, let's see here. So, scrap plus my fine melee. Oh, what is this? Risky? Controlled? Desperate?
Oh, no. This is desperate.
Desperate? Perfect. Standard effect, I assume?
Sure.
Bonus dice 1 for my fine-ass weapon. And the ability to cut things in half. That's it. Just the 1. Boom! Bad! All bad dice rolls! Season finale. Mike gets fucked.
Bend over, sweetheart.
3. Johnny, that's a failure.
All right. describe the wind up. You guys are in sort of the landing pad ramp, whatever thing, and this guy's coming at you.
I think it looks cool, right? So I jump in, and he's like grabs my leg, and I like clamber up, and I don't land properly, but I stand, and he's facing like the exit. I imagine this is like a C-130, so he's on like the ass end, and I go to dash towards him with both blades out, and I miss entirely, and now I'm on the edge, and he has the high ground.
Oh dear.
As you kind of swing around, you're kind of coming around. You have to you kind of swing around, and you miss him, and you realize that there's one of two things that you can do. You can either fall, and you can resist the fall and figure out how other things happen, or you can drop one of the swords and grab onto one of the landing struts.
Oh, I'll drop the swords.
Drop one of the swords.
Yeah. I mean, Switch grabbed like 9 of them.
That's true.
I remember 3, but okay, 9 works for me.
Whatever.
I grabbed some number of swords.
He grabbed a concerning number of them. Plus, I can punch through people, so it's fine.
All right, so
if you lost me my swords, you're gonna have to pay for those.
Well, if I die, you lost 2 swords.
That or die,
so.
yeah. Then you don't get any swords. So.
Yeah.
all right, so you come swinging around, you miss, you flying out. You're with your momentum, you have to drop one of the swords and catch on the landing strike. As you come around, you see that you're facing a blaster, and there's a big fucking smile as he's about to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
You can either counterattack and come off with something amazing, or you can resist this blaster that's coming at you.
Man, I'm gonna try to counterattack. Why not?
All right. Describe it to me before you do it. Like, what are you gonna do? You're talking about ass end of a
yeah. So if I'm holding on, like I'm holding on the other side, I'm just gonna use all my drunken arm strength. I guess I'm sober now, so I'm the strength of 10 men. I'm just gonna use one hand to pull myself forward and like lance him with this knife, with this sword.
Nice.
This is definitely desperate, and I'm gonna say that the rule is, or the sort of the effect has got to be like great, bordering on extreme. Because if you don't pull this off, like you're gonna get your ass shot pretty badly.
Okay, I still have fine ass weapons. It's not good, Johnny.
Jesus.
I didn't do good. I got a 3.
Yeah, you're really bad.
See, what happened was I'm tired. I killed a giant mammoth bug queen, a brood mother, single-handedly, and now I'm exhausted.
Sure.
And then I exploded like a dozen little baby brood mothers.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's been a long day. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 1 stress left, Sam.
This is fine.
Oh, okay.
All right, so
this never happens to Fitzy.
So far, it hasn't.
You lunge forward, kind of stabbing out, but there's like a piece, a patch of dust or something, and you slip and you lunge forward, and you kind of like and sliding, and you're sliding up the ramp a little bit, but the guy kind of just like sidestep and continues to point at you as you kind of roll over, ready to just kind of take whatever's coming as you see the blaster about to fire. Now, the only thing you can do here is resist. Either resist this, or you're going to take a blaster bolt to some part of your body.
Cool. Resist.
You mean I actually get to doctor?
This will be the first time you will get to be an actual doctor.
A real doctor?
Wow.
I resist most of it, but I trauma out.
All right.
I take 2 stress and trauma out.
Describe to me how you resist this situation. So basically, you don't take the blaster bolt, but what does Fitzy do in this situation that goes to the extreme and then traumas him out?
I think he tries to way project the bolt away, and then passes out because of this. He's never done that before, and the strain on his brain makes him pass the hell out. So he tries to force push the bolt, the blaster bolt, and then it causes him to black out. Woof.
Roll me one more 1d6. Roll me another d6.
Okay. Three.
As you pass out, you can see that the blaster bolt or the blaster is starting to come into view in front of your face. As you're beginning to fade away, you see that this guy is smiling. It's like, I'm looking forward to getting into the tech in your head. As you pass out. Now we're going to cut. The rest of the ship is aware that this fight is happening on the sort of the landing, the sort of the landing dock, ramp thing. Is anybody else getting involved in this?
I am gonna turn on the autopilot so I can go shoot this guy.
Okay. Sally's gonna be like at the edge of the door to go out. She wants to run out, but she knows she would probably just get herself killed. And being as she's the only actual doctor, she's gonna wait and see what Sam does, as much as she wants to run out right away.
Okay. What is Levi paying attention to any of this, or is he just so fucking caught up in the way now and with his head full of like good drugs that he's really beginning to see the Matrix?
I am probably really high.
No.
And it's very surprising. I think at this point, trying to think the landing, is the landing bay by the engine room?
Yes.
Okay. I would grab Amanda and start making my way over there.
Who's Amanda?
My fucking gun.
That's right. I'm sorry.
The big gun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was having visions that it was actually, I remember it being named Vera for a second, but I'm sorry that I was crossing my streams there with shows and whatever. All right. So Switch and Levi, you both kind of arrive at the same time, and Switch, as you kind of like step up and you kind of see what's going on the landing pad, you get a vision of Levi walking towards you. And there's like all this weird sort of glowy shit going on with him, and you just don't know what the fuck's going on. Like the drugs are really like done a number on him, but you see him carrying a big gun.
I guess like Switch is just gonna be like, oh buddy, you should really consider laying off the drug. You know what, this is a conversation for another time. Turns and goes to shoot the guy.
So as
I begin shooting too.
All right, well, so as the both of you kind of turn, you look, you can see that Fitzy has like reaches up as a blaster bolt is coming at him, kind of pushes it off, and it goes pinging off into the distance. And the guy is just smiling and says something to Fitzy as Fitzy passes out, and the blaster, you can see that he's about to pull the trigger. I'm going to need a roll from both of you about what happens here. This is a controlled situation. The guy hasn't seen you, but the effect is going to be great because it could save his life.
What kind of roll am I doing?
Scrap, probably.
I don't have anything in that, so this is going to be terrible. Or I can attune and use the way.
You are pretty high on Jedi drugs. Jedi space cult drugs. This is fine.
Johnny?
Go ahead.
Can I roll a tune?
How is that going to affect a mechanical weapon?
Oh, I was going to perceive what would be the best shot and see us 5 seconds into the future. Okay, I'll just use scrap.
No. Please do it. Please do it. I'm very curious about it. Please do that.
Okay. Submit. You said great.
No. This particular thing, this is controlled and this is a standard.
Okay.
Because it was the shot that you guys were firing at.
Let's fucking do it. Let's do 4 and a 1.
All right. So your eyes go cloudy for a second as you kind of realize what's going on is not inevitable, but you're not sure what's going to be the best thing to do. A flash comes in your mind as it's almost like the scene changes for just a second. And in one flash, what you see is that the Veneron kind of standing over Fitzy, smiling, and a blaster bolt goes through Fitzy's head. as blood sort of just like begins to kind of, or parts start to fly out, but then you're singed. As you can see that Fitzy's head just kind of rolls off to the side a little bit. It flashes. You see that you're holding Amanda up, and you've got it, and you take a shot as another shot comes from the other side, and both miss.
Did he miss too?
Both you and Switch miss. As the Veneron kind of realizes what's going on, he kind of moves to the side and then takes out Switch with a blaster bolt to the head. Another one flashes. As you take a shot, you hit the Veneron in the chest as he goes flying back, as Switch fires and hits the blaster out of his hand. These scenes just keep flashing. There's all of these different flashes, all these different sort of like moments where there's just like, you're getting every possible outcome for a second. Switch, as this is happening, as he kind of does this, you actually hear like grunts and other noises from him for just like almost a second, but it's almost like a series of like really different interesting noises all at once. And as you kind of look over at him as you're about ready to fire, you get a glance that the physicality of Levi is really beginning to kind of shift and change, and these lines are glowing all over him. Levi, as you kind of come back to the scene, and both of you have an opportunity to fire now. Now, as I said, it was a desperate roll or a desperate situation or a desperate position and a great effect.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Desperate. Great.
I forgot that this whole time I was supposed to get bonus dice because my pistols are fine quality. So I will do that now.
Finally.
Boom.
6. 2 for Levi.
2.
Oh, Levi.
This is why you don't have me shoot guns.
Well, why did you bring out Amanda in the first place?
Because that's
You
what he
didn't-
does.
You didn't. No one asked you to shoot guns. You chose to do this.
It worked well the last time. I got really lucky the last time.
Did it work well the last time? Did it?
It's worked really well for me. And Sally's not supposed to be good
on the straight light, he came out and they played. That reminds me, I got to play music. They played Boston's Amanda. And
All right.
I killed some people.
All right. So blaster fire, both blaster bolts go out at the same time. Switch, talk to me about how you kill this guy.
I think so. Switch has like the dual pistols, right? So he just like rounds the corner and just like pops off 2 shots. I think like one takes it through the head and one in the chest.
All right. Blaster bolt goes out from Amanda. Amanda's bolt goes wild, especially because Switch was the faster on the gun, and the 2 bolts kind of hit the Veneron, and he goes flying back. Blaster bolt hits the blaster in the Veneron's hand, and that explodes, causing a little bit of a fire all over this guy's body, and singes Fitzy just a little bit as he takes a level 1 sort of like burn.
Whoops. Yeah, I think Switch is just like, oh Jesus, God damn it, Levi. All right, I got to get back to the cockpit. You call Sally. Deal with this. I got it. I'll be back.
Sally's gonna hand him because he just got burned. Yeah.
Oh, well, Sally, he is now unconscious and laying on the landing ramp.
Both of them are unconscious.
No, just Fitzy.
Just Fitzy. Okay.
And as you kind of take in what's going on with Levi, his body is like pulsing with like energy.
Hello.
And the other guy's still alive, or did we kill him?
No, he went flying off. I'm sorry, he went flying off into the air.
He went flying off. Okay.
Yeah, as Switch is like punching it and now heading for Atmo with the shield now up.
Sally's gonna run for Fitzy and drag him in. As tiny as she is, it's not gonna be quick, but she's gonna pull him in and yell at him to Levi to help bring him into her little doctor's room.
Okay.
Strap him up.
I used a way to
working
lift
on him
because I'm like, look, I can see.
Oh, well, that works. Just get him in the fucking on the table. I
was going to ask if you want to take my blood to see if I'm okay. I feel fine, but people keep looking at me weird.
You do not look fine. You should sit in the chair while I work on him and diagnose the Where'd you say you were from again? She starts looking over.
All right. We're going to cut back to Switch as he arrives back and flips off autopilot. Your tactical display is showing there's a ton of Veneron ships from around the planet that are beginning to engage pursuit. You're going to need to do some death flying to get out of here. Sadly, you don't have somebody like Fitzy who's going to do that whole Pilgrim's Path bullshit to get you out of this one. So you're going to have to survive this one on your own.
Don't worry. I know some maneuvers. We got this.
Was it at the Battle of Tanav or something?
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I got Helm. Risky or desperate?
At this point, it's risky because the ships are just beginning to kind of engage and follow, but they are definitely not. They're definitely not close yet. They're not within blaster range, but their pursuit and they're moving really fast. They're moving on sort of an intercept sort of course.
Standard or great?
I think this is going to be great unless you can argue otherwise.
Cool. And then do we get a bonus if I use the afterburners because we're running away?
Sure.
Cool. Alrighty. Nope.
Wow, everything's going to shit this time.
Whoops.
What's happening, guys? Did we save all of our bad rolls for the finale? What's up?
Absolutely. This is beautiful.
I definitely should have used the gambit there.
Would you like to use a gambit?
Sure.
Roll it. Roll one additional d6.
Here comes the 6. Nope. Oh,
thank you.
This is fine.
So ships, the Veneron ships are kind of coming in and they're moving closer and closer to you, and you can see that there's a problem. And you're just like it's a Han Solo moment from Empire Strikes Back. You just reach over and you're like, afterburners. And when you do that, you hear boo, 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 as it starts to, as the ship continues at the same speed. As that happens, you see that there's a status display that there's energy depletion going on.
All right.
Sally's gonna look at Levi and go, I think he needs your help, and she's gonna go back to working on Fitzy.
Yeah, okay. She'll be like, Fitzy, I need you in the engine room. Something is I can't get the afterburners. We're losing power. What the fuck is going?
Well, Fitzy's unconscious.
I'll worry about that. You go help the space. I'm a doctor, goddammit.
You're the one who runs the engines, all right? So
okay, hold on. And then I go into the engine room and I start seeing what's going on.
You, with a quick kind of look around, you realize that the shield is doing incredibly good, and it's up and powering. I mean, it's good to go, but it's pulling too much power from the engine, and the afterburners can't engage.
And we're kind of far away from the other ships, right? Can I sense them?
They're gaining on you, and you don't even have to sense them. The proximity warnings, are coming from the tactical, system to let you know that the engaging ships are about to enter blaster fire range.
I hit the red button, turn off the shields, and the afterburner should kick in because he still has them on. I was like, "Get ready!" and I hit the button.
All right. There is a burst of acceleration that happens that is so incredibly intense. I'm going to need a piloting resistance roll of some kind from Switch. He's got to be able to hold on to this thing and just kind of grab on, because when it does, it fucking just blows itself out of the water. The ship just goes.
How bad is the harm?
How bad is the harm?
Yeah, if I choose to just take the harm, what am I looking at?
So here's the thing. If you fail this resistance roll, everybody's going to have to do some sort of a physical like harm resistance besides Fitzy, because Fitzy's out and, you know, the poor boy can't take any more trauma as it is.
Well, can you really like fail a resistance roll, right? I thought it was just like the worse you do, the more
the more stress. But so my point is, well, you can fail a resistance roll only in the fact that there will be a lot of people traumaing out if they do really badly on their resistance rolls.
Right.
Like the entire ship could potentially, the entire crew could trauma out.
Wait, so are we all making a resistance roll, or I'm making a pilot roll to avoid this resistance? I'm confused.
You're making a pilot, you're making some sort of like resistance roll that's basically like a pilot check to see if you can control the ship.
Got it. Okay, yeah. So
and if you don't, then everybody's going to have to make a resistance roll because of the physical, your inability to be able to take control of the ship will cause physical damage to everybody that they're going to have to resist. And they can either take the harm or trauma out.
Got it. All right. I will. So I'll roll helm. Sounds like risky then, or desperate even.
I think this is desperate.
Yeah. Desperate. And then great effect because I'm trying to affect the whole ship.
Sure.
Cool. The good news is I may level up, guys.
The question
all
is,
these desperate rolls.
Well, yeah. Do you have a gambit?
I will spend another gambit because we have 2 left. Where is that sheet?
You only gain points if you succeed in a desperate roll, right?
Not risky.
No. Desperate, you get experience regardless.
For doing a desperate roll, you get it regardless.
And you only get gambits on risky though.
Oh.
All right. Bonus die. Come on. 4.
All right.
It's a success, I think, right?
It is a success.
Don't think we're dead, but that was close.
So you grab onto the ship, right? You grab onto the sort of the controls of the ship, right? As everything starts to begin to shake really, really badly. Like it's like everything just kind of vibrates like this as everything goes forward. The ship has just moved from moderate acceleration to extreme acceleration, and it just pushes its way, you know, from Aketi really fast, heading towards the jump gate on the other side of the system, right? Like the acceleration just hits. And those Veneron ships, you can see that them, you know, pretty quickly kind of moving back as they can't maintain with the afterburner, you know, kind of engaged. And as the ship is kind of like doing this thing, is you're eventually able to get it under control. Systems left and right start to kind of pop and fizz as the ship can't handle the struggle of the acceleration. It wasn't expecting that much power. The ramp up is supposed to be a gradual thing for afterburner. But when he shut off the shield, Levi did not like have the sort of like the slight ramp up. It just like engaged all at once. And so all that like energy sort of feeds back into the system as Levi, the shield like system just starts to spark a little bit. It's going to require a little bit of attention, but it's going to require more than just, you know, you being able to engage it again next time. But as you do that, we come to the end of this particular job.
All right.
And we cut to downtime. Now, since this is the last episode, we can do normal downtime or we can just push right into the story. And you guys can tell me a couple things that you would do during this time besides sort of like besides the normal sort of like healing up kind of a thing.
I feel like we all just need to relieve stress.
That's the only thing, yeah, I was planning on doing this downtime was stress relief.
I mostly just need to fix up Fitzy, so.
On the bright side, if you trauma out, you reset to 0 stress. So, you know.
Hey.
Let's just so we're gonna do some hand wavy over all the other things that would go along. Don't worry about wanted level. Don't worry about like, you know, the benefits of the score, unless you guys decide.
We're the most wanted ship on the fucking system right now.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, it seems like for the sake of the finale, it might be best to just kind of hand wave that sort of stuff.
Exactly. So the question I do have for you is: there any stops that you want to make, or are you heading directly to the Holt system? This will kind of give me some insight into what you're going to be preparing yourself as you walk into. There's also some story elements that will like kind of pop up as that happens.
I want Sally to take my blood. And
yeah, I do need to run a test to see what's happening with him.
But I think Levi, what he's going to do is like his free action to repair the shields and make them more correct with the ship, like
Okay.
more integrated. And so, and like if the afterburners activated, like the shields go down, kind of like mechanism. Then he wants to extract Siri and put her as an AI in the ship.
Are you relieving stress at all?
Yeah, that was next.
Okay. I will deal with those two story elements afterwards. I'm just going to have you relieve stress right now.
Okay. I do more Jedi drugs. Actually, no, I do normal drugs. I let Sally try to test me and see how drugs are affecting me. So I'll indulge my vice. No bonus dice. 1. Okay, cool.
All right.
Get down by 1.
Do you want to reduce?
Twice, though, right?
Yep, you can do it twice.
Okay. No. Okay.
You're gonna get as many downtime actions as you want since this is the finale.
Okay. There we go.
Well, and there you go. You're back down to 0.
Good. I like the second one.
All right. Let's jump to Switch. Switch. What are you doing for your downtime?
I think maybe we just like see, because we have to travel through a bunch of different systems. Like I'm imagining we have to like stop for fuel and supplies. So like we see like some like, you know, different like gambling and that sort of stuff from Switch and cavorting, meeting with different crews and people, you know, doing his normal identity switching thing.
Okay. So roll me some indulging advice.
Get it done. Boom. 4 of my 7. Should I risk it? Should I risk it?
It is the show.
Biscuit?
It's up to you.
Sure, because I don't really know what else I would do for my downtime. Let's do it. Nope, that's bad. Okay, so I overindulge.
What does overindulgence for Switch look like?
That's a good question. It's like something gets me into trouble, right?
Well, your vice is basically gambling and your lifestyle.
It's like maybe somebody like calls me out for like they like recognize me and they like know that like the fake identity I'm using is not legit.
Your fake identity is fake? That's a surprise, really.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
The audacity.
All right. So that I'm going to play back in route.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right.
So I guess the 3 options are reduce stash by 4, or if you can or won't, the crew takes 2 debt. Brag about your exploits, the crew takes 2 heat, or your character. Yeah, I guess I'll take the extra heat. So I guess we take extra heat in Iota or Rin on our way to Holt.
Okay. That will have an impact as we get through this. Okay. Sally, what would you like to do? Do you want to reduce some stress, or do you have some other shenanigans you want to do or try to accomplish?
I think Sally is more worried about patching up Fitzy and running a test on Levi.
Okay. So which do you want to do first?
Fitzy.
All right. Fitzy's got level 1 harm. It's basically burns, and he's still unconscious.
Okay. I figure I should do a doctor roll.
Okay.
I would say it's controlled at this point.
This is a downtime roll, so you're going to have as much time as you possibly need. So you're not going to worry about position and effect.
Okay. All right. And probably don't really have any bonus or anybody that could help her. It's more her thing. 3 and a 6.
Okay. You apply some strange approach to using the nanites to actually heal Fitzy's burn. And it's interesting because it's a gradual thing, but when you do it, it's just like it begins to play across his skin almost like the light that's playing across Levi's skin, but in a much more sort of controlled fashion. And as you kind of watch, the burns just kind of disappear. And then it kind of makes its way up to Fitzy's head, like this glow. And for just a second, it's like there, and then it kind of dissipates and vanishes. And Fitzy, you're awake.
Hi.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I had an awful dream. We were on a kitty, and there were swords, and what?
That's all new skin you got there. You're welcome.
What happened to my old skin?
I don't know. Did burns?
Why did you burn my skin off?
I didn't burn your skin off. You burned your skin off.
Why would I burn my own skin off?
The fighting with the sword, that dream that happened, you got hurt.
Oh, so you stabbed me with swords and then you burned my skin off. Okay. No, I understand. Science.
Levi. She just looks at Levi, who's doing drugs, but sitting there.
I'm still playing with magnets.
Oh, well, You tried to fight a thing, and you did okay until you got shot.
That doesn't sound like me. You say I don't get shot. I'm usually pretty good at getting not shot.
You did. You're welcome.
Thanks, I guess.
See, I am a real doctor.
Questionable at best.
You're alive, you asshole. And then she just turns to Levi. Sally's just done with this shit. So I'd probably run steady on Mr. Levi.
Okay, go for it.
3 and a 4, so I probably wouldn't learn too much.
Well,
a little bit, but not the whole spectrum.
So here's what you get about Levi. The drugs that you are used to taking, you expect a particular psychological effect from them. And so you know what you're walking into, and you've slowly built up your sort of experience to it. You've microdosed all the way up to the point where you're able to accomplish, a pretty significant dose, giving you an opportunity to kind of like ease your brain into it. When he took the drug, he was used to other drugs that you have created or done, but he didn't build up, through microdoses to build up the sort of the experience and resistance, like mental resistance to be able to do this. Right. So his psychological state is incredibly off. The side effect is that the nanites are attempting to kind of repair him in his head, and you're not sure that you're going to be able to fix this with the current state of like tools on the ship. Like your med bay is not capable of actually fixing Levi at this point.
We don't have anything weird on the ship right now, do we?
Well, if you count Levi, sure, and if you count Fitzy, and you count Siri, and you count all the technology that Friday isn't actually with you.
That's right.
However, Tuesday is still there with you, along with so Monday is also with you as in his Dinklebot form, and then there is Tuesday that is trapped inside of Siri, and Siri, having reboot, is still experiencing some glitches. And the best part is the cube is glowing, and it's doing its own thing, and it's glowing and doing like weird sort of like flashy things that sort of look like what's going on with Levi's skin.
Okay, I want to roll again, but unless technically would be indulging my vice is doing my Doctor Strange thing.
Okay, do your Doctor Strange thing on Levi.
Okay, how do I roll that again? I always forget.
There should be an option under. Let's see, where is it?
Indulge vice.
Yes, it should be under
like your normal character stuff. Yeah,
I mean,
right under vice purveyor.
Do I get any bonus dice for using my Doctor Strange ability?
Sure, take one.
Right. 3, 2, 2. I went over to. I overindulged.
Well, so tell me what happens when you weirded up too much for Levi.
Either I'll let you pick. Either I run into something that causes a problem, or I end up testing it on myself.
Ooh.
I'll let you pick.
I know which one I would pick.
The testing on yourself, yeah. But
Describe
at this point, Sally's desperate because she's grown very attached to Levi. He understands her the best, so she does not want whatever's fucking with him to break him.
Describe to me what happens when you use it on yourself and it becomes too much.
So at this point, Fitzy's probably space Jedi working out or whatever, not paying attention. So that would give Sally the room to do this.
Training montage,
yeah. So she's probably at the very least figured out what how to like have a sample of the nanites. She just had it working on Fitzy. She's had it working on Levi. So she feels like she's slightly mentally okay. So she's just gonna shoot him right in and hook herself up to her own table and start looking at readouts, seeing what happens. What the difference between her brain scans and Levi's are.
So your brain scans, while a little strange because of the nanites sort of working inside of your system, are a little off. You're experiencing a euphoria and a sort of a clarity and a focus. It's a little too intense for you right now because it's just like, you know, you've taken way too much Adderall basically.
Yeah.
You're way like clear. And as you look at Levi's scans and you look at your scans, you realize that the nanites that are working inside of his brain to repair the damage that they did to his brain are overcompensating in such a way that they're fighting each other. There's basically like desperate, work going on in different parts of his brain. And as one part gets repaired by one group, it begins to take down or begins to damage another part. And there's just like there's this war of nanites basically going on in his head. He's not able to perceive them because he's not using all of his brain all the time. But it's clear that the nanites are trying to actually repair his brain in such a way that it actually uses all parts at the same time. And it is an incredibly complicated affair.
Not a thing. Got it.
And you need to get it out of his head immediately, or it may cause permanent damage.
Levi.
Yes.
I know you like being the smartest, the best, but they're gonna break your brain.
What's breaking my brain?
The nanites.
Sure.
She's twitching a little. Should I take them out?
How are you going to get them out?
She looks around. She's trying to decide if she's going to give him a drug that would make everything in his brain relax, like some sort of like actual street drug, and see if that turns him off, or I think or she'd have to ask what attracts the nanites, or if she could make them all go to one part of his brain and like pull them out or something. So those are the two options. I'll let
you give Levi the options?
I'm gonna give Levi the options. Which means we're probably taking drugs.
I mean, I'll try drugs.
Okay. If that doesn't work, we're gonna have to give you drugs that make you act a little crazy, so the nanites go to one place and I can pull them out. Maybe, hopefully, question mark. Alright, she would give him some sort of like, let's see, ecstasy type space drug thing that would make him like relax and really feel good, so his brain wouldn't, the nanites wouldn't be fighting the bad parts of his brain so much.
Okay.
What kind of roll do you have?
I think this requires some seriously, like, I don't know. It could be sort of doctor, or it could be study. I mean, it could even be rig at this point, because, I mean, what do you feel like is most appropriate in this particular situation?
Probably study, because while she knows as a doctor that it should work, she doesn't know for a fact that it would. So I'd probably go study.
Okay.
And rig will probably be the next one if this doesn't work.
Okay. Sure.
I'm
All right.
going to go with, well, you said all of these are, I don't know. I
All
feel
of them
like
can apply as long as you, so your different approaches will, if you fail or succeed, will have different results. That's why I'm asking what's the best approach that you think will apply here?
Yeah, I do feel like this is risky though.
Oh, it's incredibly risky.
Johnny, can I roll
Yes.
study to look at her equipment?
Yeah, I'm okay with him doing that first.
Okay, so at this particular point, I would say that the best thing for you to probably do is to probably assist her in this particular role.
Okay.
And just narrate what the assist is going to be, and then it's going to give her, it's going to give her a bonus die.
A bonus dice? Okay.
So I would probably assist her in rigging.
Okay.
And doing that kind of stuff to make drugs. I forgot what we're doing. Why I want to roll a study. I want to roll a study if Levi realizes that this can't be done on the ship, or it's not going to bode well.
Oh, so you actually want to try to prevent her from attempting this?
Possibly. Oh, I'm all choked up.
I'm done for either. I know it works for me. Sally is theorizing at this point with the equipment she has. She doesn't have anything.
All right. Okay. So Levi, I'm gonna just say that I want to see this as a scene instead.
Okay.
You are able to perceive the situation as it currently stands in the status, and that everything that she's trying to do is risky at this point. Like full on, like your mental state is like in jeopardy, and anything that she could do possibly could make it, worse. It's a gradual decline or a gradual sort of like condition, but you realize that you've got some time left. Now she can either try to fix you and make it better, or she could more than likely probably do a lot more damage.
I look at the equipment she has around the room, and he's like kind of like looking at the tools and looking at like all like the beakers full of stuff and like tinging it. And then like as he tings it, he just feels like the chemical compounds and the molecules within that energy, and like he sees like now he's starting to see the like hegemony technology like all together, and he's seeing how the energy flows. And now he's doing like math calculations in his head at one point. And he's like, and it's kind of going through that whole thing of the variables. He's seeing like every outcome that could possibly happen. As she's like going to start like rigging something up, you just see him like hold her, like touch her hand, and he looks at her and he goes, I really don't think there's anything we can do. If you look around, and he like points at like the lab. I was like, you have a great lab, but I think this is something that's maybe a little beyond both of us at the moment. I think something new is happening, and I think you should take this opportunity to study what happens to me. And because if we go anywhere, we're going to get arrested. If we or possibly blown out the sky. That's also a possibility. There's also possibilities that we go through, trying to do this, make myself worse. I turn into a six-toed lizard that eats the ship. And it's a lot of weird things, but I think doing nothing is the outcome for this one. I think no matter what, this is the end of the line for me.
Oh God, Sally's not going to react well to this. What stupid thing am I about to do?
I'm looking forward to whatever it is.
Yeah. She's gonna inject herself with more of the nanites. She's gonna let him go about his day. She's gonna inject herself with more of the nanites, and she's gonna ride up and send a message to Sam about what's going on. So he's
Ultimately,
mildly aware that they need better stuff to fix him.
all right, I just have one question for you. What is the desired goal for drugging yourself even more with the nanites?
She doesn't know what else to do. She wants to keep studying them. She figures there's got to be something that they're missing. There's nothing logical about it.
She just wants to do some more drugs. Because she's bummed
And
out.
she's bugged out, and she figures, well, if I have more, then clearly I'll be able to see what I'm missing, which is probably not true. I can roll another study just for.
At this point, no. We're just going to have you kind of drug out a little bit, and then when the relevant time comes, there'll be a roll related to it, if necessary. All right. We're going to cut to Levi very quickly and talk about the two things that you wanted to do, which is one, you wanted to rig up the system for the shield and the afterburner so that they work well together, right? So we're just going to hand wave that and say that along the journey through the various star systems, because you guys are going from the Brecht system, leaving Aketi, going through Iota, and then making your way to Ren, and then obviously to Holt, because you're heading to this mysterious gate that's open.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have plenty of time to be able to do that. The other thing that you wanted to do was you wanted to insert Siri as the AI for the Glory.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how I do that?
Talk to me a little bit about why you're doing that or how you're doing that. I want some insight into that particular choice.
So at this point, Levi is kind of seeing like his brain's like overworking, and he's seeing every possibility, and so he's very much seeing that he's not going to make it to the end of this, and he's aware of Tuesday is in Syria, right?
Tuesday is in Syria. That is correct.
Yeah. So he wants to extract Siri and her code and destroy the droid and implement her into the computer system of the Glory. And how he's going to do that was he was going to extract her at a price, and that price is that his left hand turns into nanites as it like approaches into the droid itself and begins to extract Siri, and the nanites all of a sudden go and fly into the computer system as he uses the way to crush the droid. And just kind of like seeming very calm in everything that's happening.
Yeah, there's no role that's going to happen like this, but basically what you're doing is kind of like what happened in I guess like the Star Wars movie Solo, where like they take L3 and then insert her into the Millennium Falcon.
Sure, I haven't seen that movie.
Okay,
Trying to upload your brain.
All right, you should definitely watch that. That's fun. Anyways, all right. So you as you do this, does anybody else actually see this happen?
He's not hiding it. It's like in the middle of the engine room.
All right, this whole transformation thing happens, and like your hand does this sort of weird like nanite thing. Right. And so your hand does this sort of weird nanite thing, and it's like instinctive, and all of this begins to kind of like, coalesce and encapsulate, and then it does its thing. And then Siri gets inserted into the core computer systems of the Glory. As this is sort of finishing, you're beginning to feel really drained. What do we see that happens to your hand at the end of this?
So it's actually like throughout the whole process, it's kind of like smoke and like wisping, and like you just see like his skin like deteriorating, and like as it's like going, and as series like finally getting complete, you just see like a iridescent like light blue skeleton hand, and it just goes and like digitizes, and like it turns into like many different kind of codes and all that kind of stuff, and like disappears, and then just kind of like heals over, and it's just like a stub now.
Okay, so after this, you're going to need a hell of a lot of like sleep time as you just crash from the way that the drugs are been working on you. And we're going to cut to Fitzy doing his Fitzy stuff.
That's me. I'm doing Fitzy stuff. So one of my downtime actions is just to train, and my other downtime action is to give Johnny ammo. Johnny, I overindulge.
I have a question for you. I know you're going to overindulge. I got a question for you though. Before you do that, tell us about the training montage.
It's not a physical montage. I'm training in Resolve, so it's all mental. So it's the same kind of thing. He's meditating and replaying the combat over and over again about what happened on Aketi, and living through past traumas to train his mind, as opposed to his body's a fit fighting engine. It's just his brain that's a little fucked up. So
the training goes on and more intense as you lead to your overindulgence. Now talk to me about your overindulgence. As you do this too much, you isolate yourself, as I understand. Like, I'm imagining that you isolate yourself the entire trip.
Yeah, so there's some kind of like port, like exterior port window that he can see space, and that's where he meditates. But my vice is meditation. So I look inward as I begin to meditate, and because I have zero stress, I look at that weird. I overindulge. And the weirdest part is that my overindulgence is called Dark Visions. That's it. I'm gonna let Johnny take this one. I get Dark Visions. Go nuts, buddy. It's the finale.
The technology that you've come into contact with, and the technology that's been warped and adapted into your head, has given you all kinds of abilities to connect to the way and see the way in ways that you were not originally trained to do. Because of that, you actually can see elements of technology as like things happen, but you can also gain insights and connections into other things. You can see farther, you can see distance. You're meditating in the room as you see the conversation happen between Sally and Levi happening in another room, right? And you see the sort of interactions, and you see her taking more of the drugs and watching her body sort of like coalesce with like nanite energy, and it just kind of gets all crazy. But you see Levi's body just like, completely being rewritten. Like it's like you can watch the nanites as they're affecting his brain and as it affects his physicality. And then you sort of like, you pass into sort of darkness, and then you kind of fade back in as you see at various stops along the way, as you guys are having to make fuel stops to get to and try to like bypass like blockades and everything else, the people that are looking for the glory. You see Switch wheeling and dealing and doing all of these various backroom deals, and trying to get a little time in and get some gambling, or try to really indulge his vice. And you see things go badly as there are people starting to take notice and beginning to kind of follow the ship. and you flash back to another scene, or you flash into another scene where you see Levi actively inserting Siri into the ship, and you can watch like the sort of the data construct that is technology get inserted into the Glory. And then you watch as his hand sort of dissipates. But as his hand dissipates, as he's doing all of this, and he crushes Tuesday inside of the construct and destroys Tuesday, you can see that the nanites, as they kind of fade away from the visual, actually kind of like coalesce and begin to kind of swirl around Levi. Something that he can't even see, but they're actually a part of him still. They're just no longer physical as a part of his hand, but they're just like, there's this like wave of like, flourishing around. And then the ship enters the hold system, goes through the jump gate and enters the hold system. And as you come out of the hold system and you're beginning your journey across, your consciousness begins to kind of reach out, and you can feel the presence of the other gate, and it's open. And you can see the scene that's happening at the gate. You see ships kind of like all like arrayed around in a holding pattern, as small like probes are sent towards the gate itself. And as they reach sort of the precipice of the gate, as they sort of pass the event horizon, they vanish and vaporize. And you can see that energy sort of like broadcast out and coalesce. Now, everybody around that's there, like sort of what paying attention to this, doesn't realize that the energy is like vaporizing and coalescing and just like dissipating. And so finally a ship kind of goes in, and as it does, like a small ship, you feel the sort of the life energy of those three people, those three, like individuals in that ship, as it kind of goes through and kind of vanishes. And as it does, the energy sort of powers and coalesces around in the gate's structure itself. You get a flash forward for just a second to a darkened planet. You can see that there is sunlight emanating from the other side of the planet, but you're on the dark side of the planet from the sun. As you kind of focus in a little bit, you see that there is a huge sort of electrical storm that is going on the part that you can see. And then you flash forward for just a second, and you see on the ground, you see the storms are sort of happening all around you, and you're feeling drawn in a particular direction before, in front of you. But as your consciousness begins to kind of move forward, you snap out of it and come back. And you realize that the ship is in the hold system, and that you are all preparing to kind of figure out what the hell you're going to do. And that's the end of your dark vision.
Dope. Yeah, I think I just contemplate on and think on that vision. Yoda style.
All right. Yoda style, or no, I'm not going to even do it. Anyways, kind of. So we're going to cut to the situation. You all are hanging, the ship is, the Glory is hanging out at a distance from where the gate is. You are getting all kinds of desperate, different feeds of information kind of coming in from you. None of the probes, none of the things that are being sent into the gate are being heard from again. Like they're not pinging back. There's no like return. They've sent in a couple of ships. Those ships haven't returned from whatever's on the other side of that destination point. The hegemony has still remained silent about what it is that they're going to do, but the rest of the Procyon sector, who pretty much believes that it's under its own particular power, is like crazy to find out what's going on. Nobody can seem to successfully transport through the gate and come back. There is now like this sort of like this defensive perimeter that's kind of building around it as new attempts are being prevented until the hegemony sends a response.
Who's creating this blockade? The hegemony or just like locals?
The locals are all kind of banding together. The legitimate local sources, including the military, essentially the local military and militias are kind of like banding together to prevent any more harm, because they feel like they are going to need to protect whatever comes out, since apparently nothing is able to go in. They are fearing that something is going to come out of the gate.
Is the hegemony actually here?
They have not broadcast anything to indicate what their position is.
Okay, but we can't see any hegemony ships.
There, you can see no hegemony ships here.
Okay. Seeing there's the blockade and knowing that this is usually Switch's deal, but knowing that we're in deep shit, Fitzy kind of goes to the cockpit where Switch would be. He says, I have a bit of a bad idea, if you're down for it.
Always.
Okay, so this, and he like undoes part of the robe, and you can see that there is like a glowing tattoo of the hegemony symbol burned into his chest. This is what you get when you're a trooper for the hegemony. It's called the Light's Kiss.
Yeah, I remember. I was in your head.
Yeah, well, here it is. And if you tell everyone that we're an undercover hegemony ship for research purposes, they might let us through, and you can put this on the vid screen. And they'll probably believe it.
Seems good to me. Like opens a hailing channel and it's just like,
we're doing it right now. Okay.
This is the Blaze of Glory. Repeat, Blaze of Glory reporting to whoever's in charge of this blockade. Can I speak to whoever's in charge over there?
Screen kind of flickers a little bit, kind of flashes, a bunch of things kind of come up as Nyx comes on the screen.
Oh, no shit.
Switch? Is that... Did you really just decide to show your face at probably the largest collection of ships in the sector?
Oh, yeah, I brought good news for you.
Everybody here probably wants to collect on the bounty that is on the four of you.
That is definitely a possibility, but I have a feeling that you're not going to want to when I tell you the good news.
Wait a minute. Before I allow these ships to engage with you, please tell me what good news is going to prevent me from actually making those orders actually occur.
Oh, well, we're here from the hegemony, and I brought the key.
I'm sorry. That is the biggest line of bullshit you've ever fed me.
I mean,
and
look,
you fed me some really good,
Nyx,
lines. But
Nyx, you know me. I know how to come up with a much better lie than that. This has to be the truth because I'm not so stupid as to come up with that bad of a lie. I'm a great liar. You know that.
You kind of see, like, she hits mute for a second, and you can see that she's waving to somebody off screen, and she's keying in something. And a counter pops up on your display with 60 seconds.
Look, here's the thing.
It starts to count down, and she says, "You've got 60."
Didn't you think it was odd that I picked up such useful crew members and that I've been fucking all over the different parts of the sector, who knows where, collecting the type of items that are pretty far outside of my normal interest? You don't think that's a little unusual for me? Now, I just got back from a little place called Ketty, and my buddy here, Fitzy, he's not just a little schlub. He's actually someone pretty important who hired me. Fitzy, go ahead and show her who you are.
30 seconds there, Switch.
I kind of work for the hegemony, and he pulls out the marking on his chest.
And she looks at this. She's looking at this as she's about to say something, and her jaw begins to drop as she's kind of like, it's not even. She can't even evoke a what.
I actually pull the strings here on the ship. It's not actually Switch at all.
That's not so cute.
He captains, but I mean.
Look here. All I'm saying is the hegemony got into contact with me because they understand that I can get things done. They partnered me up with this motherfucker here. I honestly don't think they thought we were going to succeed. Sent us gallivanting all over the goddamn place.
And
countdown.
We're willing to look past
to
your
10.
transgressions.
Here's the deal, though. I need to get through because I got the key, and I want to open that place up. So you can blow us up, and then you'll never get through this gate, and the gate will probably shut down for good. Or you can let us through, and we can take care of things for the hegemony and for all of you good people.
As you're saying that, the countdown goes to 3, to 2, and you hear like her hitting the keys. All right. I'll play along. What's the key?
Oh, where's the key? I'm going to fly right damn through that thing, and it's going to work out great.
Have you been watching the video feeds that have been broadcast?
I have been watching the video feeds, Nix, and sometimes if you try to drive into a place without the key, it's almost like you're just driving into a wall. A space kind of magic-y mumbo-jumbo. I'm bad at explaining this. The answer is I got the key. We're going to fly through. Everything's going to work out. It's not going to go like your probes. You can trust me or not. Either way, if I'm wrong, I'm dead. And if I'm right, you win. You got nothing to lose here.
Fine. That's you're dead anyways. And she kind of like hits a couple of buttons. All right. Path is clear for you. Go ahead. And you begin to watch as ships begin to kind of part in the blockade, giving you direct access to the gate.
Switch starts like heading forward, and before he closes the channel, he's just like, "Oh no, Nix, I am not dead. I'm fucking rich." He just closes the channel.
I can't believe that fucking worked.
Yeah, that was a great plan.
It was a great plan.
I was actually going to do something very similar, but the fact that you had that marking really sold it.
Turns out when you escape from a lot of prisons, people, it comes in handy.
Yeah. Look, yeah.
Yeah. I
Nothing
agree.
ever works this well.
Sally's just
flying
looking
towards the gate.
very quickly between the two of them. She's still very fucked up.
Just a heads up as we're about to jump into a portal of unknown origin and unknown exit point. Levi jammed Siri into the controls of the ship.
He did what now?
Oh. This is fine.
Please have Siri talk to Switch now.
What would Siri say to Switch there, Loke?
She'd be like, as they're like flying through, all of a sudden the controls like take over, and she's just like, "Let me do it, because I will do it very much better than you can," and then starts to fly through.
In the voice of Sigourney Weaver, just telling you that she is better than you.
Oh, I do not like this. I do not like this.
As the glory begins to approach the gate, as the blockade kind of moves past, you actually get to see a lot more detail about the gate. The gate is ornate in a different way. The designs appear to be much more specific and distinct. It's also in a triangle shape instead of being a circle. And so as you get closer and closer, the cube begins to glow as all of the sort of information coalescing inside of it becomes visible on the outside as it kind of like broadcasts, and you see the display of the star system that it purportedly will send you to. As it's glowing, Siri then says, "Well, that's unusual," as you pass through the gate. As you pass the event horizon of the gate, you are transported in what looks to be very much sort of like a Stargate sort of pathway through wormhole kind of a thing, except that there's every color of the rainbow, and they are clouds swirling and and this is the first time that you've ever passed through a gate that is completely like iridescent, glowy, kind of like, it is a very different experience. And you actually feel the passage of time in this gate. You don't actually feel that typically. From one gate to the other, it's a quick jump. This actually lasts longer than you expect. And so after about a half hour, the glory comes out on the other side. And as that happens, the crystal, the cube like goes dark, completely dark. And you come out into another sort of star system on the other side, and you can see the glow of 3 suns in the distance. And Siri, in response, says, "Plotting course for third planet," as it pushes towards a planet in particular?
All right,
Whoa,
just
stop
don't
that, Siri.
Just don't even ask me which planet we want to go to. Fine, just go there. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
All right. As you're kind of pushing towards, there's a little bit of a debris field that you're passing through as you realize that is the debris field from the various probes and ships that have been sent through. They did pass through to the other side, but there are no life signs. There's nothing going on. And Siri's beginning to kind of pilot the Glory, in closer. Fitzy, you see the vision of the planet that you saw as the suns all kind of get angled behind as you come in from the dark side on this particular planet. Do you have any comment or do you want to react to that before?
Yeah, he kind of like looks like, I mean, I assume he's in the co-pilot seat essentially. And he says, I saw this. I was meditating and I saw this in my head when I saw the whole Siri thing and, Sally shooting herself up with drugs and Levi losing a hand or something. And you losing a bunch of money. I saw this place and there was like a storm of some kind. Like a lightning storm. I don't know what that means. I saw it in the vision. Probably bad. Usually they're bad when I see them. Just so we're clear.
Oh. Nothing can ever be easy.
Well, we got here pretty cleanly.
Fine, then.
All right. So, I'm sorry. Private messages are great. So the ship is like coming around. The Glory is kind of coming around, and it's beginning to just out before it's about to hit Atmo. The lightning storm that's kind of swirling and furling. Siri appears to be on a particular course, right? She's coming down on a particular angle. Levi, you recognize that this was plotted from the data that you got from the cube when you actually you were able to analyze the cube very early on. And as you're kind of coming in and the ship is like making its way, there was a huge surge of lightning kind of coalescing all across, and it kind of arcs up and arcs out and reaches out for the ship and just kind of like shocks it. And at that point, Siri goes dark. And a lot of the higher level systems on the ship are starting to fail. Switch. Like the ship is now beginning to kind of like list out of and start to kind of lose control. What do you do here?
Yeah, Switch starts hitting all the buttons, trying to regain control, and he's like, everyone strap in. This may be a bit of a rough landing. It's gonna try to take control and at the very least get some gliding action going. If we can't get stuff back, everything else back online to get a not so crashy landing going.
Okay. All right. So the ship's beginning to hit Atmo, and it's just really beginning to kind of struggle and kind of shake. And so I'm going to need a piloting role of some kind from you.
All right. Helmet it up.
Quickly, I'm going to help assist with that.
Okay. How are you going to do that?
So Levi has been in back as everyone's been up front, and I'm going to do this. And then basically he's just seen this over and over, and this is what the outcome that he saw and prevented Sally from extrapolating the nanites from his head. So as you guys are getting closer, you guys all of a sudden realize that or Switch would notice that the airlock has opened and shut, and now Levi's climbing onto the top of the ship.
Okay.
And he is grabbing the top of the ship, and he's now starting to transform. And what he's turning into is and we can, as he's transforming, let's play Boston's Amanda.
Wow, that's going to be the theme of the show, I guess.
Yeah.
What the hell are you doing out there?
Oh no! Okay. Now listen to me. So this is the only way you're gonna make it. I've already saw it. Tell Siri when she wakes up, I say goodbye.
Wait, hold on now. This whole thing was about you and me getting rich. We got it doesn't work if you. What are you talking about?
Oh no, I was screwed when Sally gave me those other drugs. I'm pretty gone now. No. Get back in the ship. No. Hey. It's okay. No.
I'm the goddamn captain, and I'm telling you right now, get back in the goddamn ship, Levi. You're not gonna die.
You know, Switch, I don't know if you really know how Atmo works, but normal people can't be out there.
Shut the fuck up.
All right.
You shut the fuck up right now, and he's gonna get back in the ship. Everyone's gonna be fine, and don't worry.
Trying to tell you it wasn't going well. I couldn't fix him.
Everyone, shut the fuck up. I'm the captain.
Look, if you look under the second engine panel, you'll find my sash there, Switch. So you take that. I'm not gonna need that anymore. I'm still pretty high. And you know it's
we're in space.
Yeah. And then
they're kind of high.
Yes, I'm high on life. As he looks at the camera, he's like,
"Switch, pure oxygen." That height.
I'll do what I can. I don't know what's gonna happen to me, but I just want to say that just run this system like the ruthless fuck that you are. And then it'll be okay. And Sally, don't do a lot of that drug. Elba, and I don't know if you read my life readings or anything like that. And Fitzy, go get laid. And so at this point, like he's like kind of integrating to the system and kind of giving a little bit of power to it.
Okay.
But he begins turning like kind of like serpentine a little bit, and he starts turning into a nanite leviathan, and like kind of like turning into like transforming into like a different kind of like conscious of being, and begins like guiding the ship down, and make it in like it's kind of a rough landing, but it's the ship's a little banged up, and he like brings it down and helps Switch guide the ship down.
No roll required then, because what happens is the ship kind of comes through and the lightning storm, like clouds and everything else, and there's this purple lightning that's just kind of like swirling and going, and it's just a massive like electrical energy. But Levi, your essence just kind of wraps around the ship as giving Switch the ability to kind of like steer and just kind of do its thing. But you're making your way through, and you're just like kind of like going through, and then all of a sudden you come out of the clouds and you're like, there's this huge mountain range in front of you, and you're forced to kind of like dodge left and right through this like jagged like edge, like jagged tops of these mountains as you kind of make your way. And you crest across this final one as you're just able to kind of almost make it. And then just like you come, down into this incredibly large valley and lightning for a second. And you can see that there are features, inside of the valley, but it's like just crazy and just massive and just going absolutely nuts. Like all of this like electrical energy. And then it just dissipates completely and it stops and everything goes dark as you're careening down into this valley. And just at the last second, as the ship is, about to hit, you feel the last bit of Levi's like, nanite energy just kind of like guide the ship in such a way. And it kind of comes down really hard, but it's like a slam and then it's hard. And then all the power in the ship goes out.
Yes, I think like during like that whole time, Switch kept on going with his shouting and swearing, and probably becomes less and less coherent. And then like as they like touch down, I think he just like breaks down crying. Because literally his only actual friend just died.
Yeah, Sally's probably crying a bit too.
Fitzy's not.
Yeah, and so then like I think he looks up and he's just like, tries to see if we can like get out of the ship. Like, are we gonna die if we do?
No, you got an indication that the atmosphere is breathable.
Yes, so I think he's just like gonna go outside without saying anything to the other two.
One last thing. Before, like, as the ship lands, like the Leviathan Levi, the nanite Leviathan goes up into the cloud, the storm cloud around the planet, and begins swimming.
All right. Very good. So, Switch, you kind of make your way down to the ground, and you find yourself, kind of looking around. The land is incredibly dark. You can see that there are some features of the land kind of like vaguely shadowed in the distance that's coming from, a light source, a vague light source, but it's like a crest of a hill kind of a thing in the distance. For Sally, who's still in her drug-induced state, you're feeling this like pulsing sort of sound in your head. It's like a huge thrum, like just going, like it's a pulse and a pulse, and it's coming from a particular direction. And for Fitzy, you're feeling the exact same thing, except you have a much sort of clearer vision of what's going on. You're feeling that presence that was drawing you, in from your dark vision. Like it's drawing you in a particular direction.
Yeah, Sally's gonna look at you with tears in her eyes and go, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh, you mean the thrumming noise in the back of your head? For you, it's probably just drugs. For me, it's telling me to go that way.
I mean, I can vaguely feel that way. It's not all drugs.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of situation this is, but it's definitely the same kind of energy as the way, and it's calling us in a direction.
Look, we came this far. I'm not stopping now. Let's fucking go.
All right, well, I guess I'll lead. And he just starts walking in that direction.
So the direction that you're walking, sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
So the direction that you're walking is towards the sort of the vague outline of a land feature that's like a little bit of like a hill or something that you need to crest. And you're being drawn in that direction, and the storm is above you, and occasionally you see some flash, of purple light, but otherwise, and occasionally you see a wisp of sort of like blue-white light, and it looks vaguely in the shape of a Leviathan for just a second as it dances in the clouds and disappears off into the distance. But you're making your way in this particular direction, and you're walking for maybe 20 or 30 minutes before you actually get to the foot of this thing. This mountain, sort of like this hill structure, is sort of like a bunch of debris and rocks and whatever. And it's like jagged edges and everything else. But the three of you are able to begin to slowly kind of climb it. And as you're making your way up, it kind of cuts your hands a little bit, and you feel like the land is dead. Like it's really unusual. For Fitzy and for Sally, you don't feel a lot of the way going on. Occasionally, Sally, you can feel the way in the drugs that you do. It's not really there except for where you're being pulled to. And for Fitzy, everything is dead around you. As you're kind of like getting a sense, as you're kind of getting more of like the energy that comes off the land. There's nothing around you. There's stuff in the distance, but all you're being pulled towards is the one source of energy that could be for the way. And as you crest the top of this hill, and you're kind of able to look out, at first you just see the darkened land in front of you, and it goes on. This valley is gigantic, and it goes on forever. And then it's as if the sun or the stars or the clouds begin to clear a little bit, and you're able to get a vision in the distance of three suns sort of like shining back towards you as the land begins to kind of lighten up a little bit, as you see this standing in front of you at a distance. And that's where we fade to black.
Nice.
Fuck.
Fuck.
And with that, I think that's the perfect time to announce that next week? Is it next week already? Holy shit.
It's next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Our new season of shows will include on Wednesday, no longer Monday, most of this crew, with the exclusion of one McLogan, the inclusion of one Awkward Kitty. We are playing a Dark Crystal themed game called the Age of Darkness. And here we are on the planet Thra, somehow tied to the and all the fuckery that came before. With that bombshell drop there, we'll go around. We'll do our introductions. We'll get the hell out of here for the last time as the crew of the Blaze of Glory Hole, and we will see you next week as the something of Thra. That being said, we'll start with Loke, who heroically sacrificed himself both for the ship and the stream. Loke, who are you? Where can we find you, and what are you up to?
I'm McLoken. You can find me at McLoken in Twitter. Yeah. But that's pretty much it. But it was fantastic playing. I like how Johnny got super excited when I told him my devil's bargain. So because it just kind of fit, and I was like, I mean, like, Levi can't take all the nanite drugs and have nothing terrible happen. So Levi has always been the character concept is a version of Leviathan. He was just human. So having him become a nanite Leviathan seemed to fit. And I got a little choked up, especially with Switch yelling at him. I was like, like trying to hold it together and all that kind of stuff. It was intense. I could not imagine Levi in this landscape. Around a bunch of Muppets high on him. He's
So
like,
just-
what the fuck?
So you mean like every other human guest on the Muppet Show, around a bunch of Muppets high as fuck.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, Levi's actually a Muppet.
Yeah.
Now,
It's a
I am
Muppet the
now
whole
a
time.
Muppet.
Totally.
A Muppet nanite Leviathan who's going to show up and do a musical number. So, but it was really fun. I had a fucking blast. My fucking dice rolls were really good in this game. So that's
You wrecked
That's-
everything always.
I hate you.
Did I wreck everything, Johnny? Did you have a plan?
There's always a plan that always gets wrecked by the dice or whatever else, especially on Roll20. But you did especially well because it was like space fuckery on steroids. Thank you.
And that's me, space fuckery on steroids.
Perfect. With that, we'll jump over to the heartbreak moment of the episode. Sam, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet? And what are you up to?
Hi there, I'm Sam, aka Wizenfool on Twitch, the Wizenfool on Twitter. Yeah, this is a blast. I liked the chance to get a little more emotional at the end. I always enjoy that. That was a very nice ending. Even though it worked out well because the Devil's Bargain was a bittersweet end for Switch, and him losing his one of his few true friends out there in the sector is a good one. I liked it. I'm also imagining that as we fade into black, we get the first two chords of David Bowie's Mood Age Daydream as our title ender. And yeah, I'm very excited to come back and do some Dark Crystal. I had a blast playing Switch and doing funny voices, and I had such a good time playing with all of you. Joe, I will absolutely miss it, but I'm sure we'll run into each other in games in the future. So yeah, I'm pumped. Thanks everyone for this game.
I'm excited and terrified to see this group do something to Dark Crystal. Like, we're all fans of Dark Crystal, but we're all who we are. So
That's fine.
I haven't seen this Netflix show yet, so I need to do
Oh,
that.
you gotta
Yeah.
binge
Please
it. You
do.
have a whole weekend.
Yeah.
I haven't either. So
That being said,
I've got time.
we'll turn things over to Cherry. Who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
I'm Cherry. Cherry Babam on Twitch, Cherry Babam7, because that name didn't exist on Twitter. Doing some tarot and some Red Dead mostly these days. Taking a break from role playing in GTA, doing role play in Red Dead until that's a thing? ? And yeah, hitting the tarot hard, possibly right after this. We'll see.
Nice. And last but always least, especially today, Johnny, who are you? Where can we find you on the internet, and what are you up to?
Johnny, Video Store Cowboy everywhere except on Twitter, where it's a couple of characters short. I got to tell you guys did amazing here. This was supposed to be a 1 season thing, and it ended up being 2 seasons because it was a lot of fucking fun. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I'm really disappointed that Loki can't actually make the next show because I actually had a slightly different plan, and I thought
guilt him into it.
Well, I could, but I also, know that, life and responsibilities. I'm also going to tell you that Amanda can confirm, and a couple other people can confirm, this was always the ending of the show. It was always going to go from this show, Space Fuckery, to the Land of Thra.
I love it.
It was planned from the beginning, and if you go back and you think about some of the things that were dropped in, some of the lore of the show as presented, all of them fit into the world of Thra. So
it's actually the only thing Johnny planned the entire campaign.
Probably for the best.
Yeah,
with this
for real.
asshole crew.
Well, now
it is a Scum and Villainy. I mean, it is a Blaze in the Dark system game. It is Scum and Villainy. So Space Fuckery really does come down to either being dark or evil or fun and shenanigansy, and we had both. So I really enjoyed this. So thank you guys for thank you for Sam for recommending we play this game.
Yeah, thank you for running it.
Sam.
Yeah, I just as a last comment for me, because I wanted to play Scum and Villainy for a long time and had talked to Mike and Johnny, so I was really glad to get it. And I think we had like the perfect combo of what I was wanting with that like dark and goofiness, where it's like all of these characters were like kind of lighthearted, but if you peer just past the surface, it's like, oh, these guys are horrible, horrifying,
fucked up.
yeah,
Terrible people.
This is a crew of actual monsters.
yeah, like that's like exactly like the theme of this kind of like dark comedy-esque space shenanigans thing, and like that kind of show is like so up my alley and exactly what I was looking for, and I'm so glad we hit it. So thank you all.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I had a blast. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it for the Blaze of Glory Holes. We are done. We'll be here next week. We'll be playing some Dark Crystal. We have a bunch of shows dropping next week. And your hot scloozy for the end of the season and end of the year is that we have a podcast coming out next year. Shh, tell everyone. And from all of us to you guys, we will see you next year. Bye-bye.